Welcome to the Asbestos Knowledge Empire.
What does asbestos management mean to you?
I used to really struggle with the asbestos management at my site, but now it's a breeze.
It used to be really expensive. I was paying loads, but now I've got my asbestos power team in place. It's so much easier.
Asbestos can be a pain in the arse if not handled right.
We had to stop the job because asbestos was discovered. Now we don't have that problem.
Asbestos management is easier than you think. Asbestos management. Be proactive, not reactive. Think about asbestos first, not last.
And now your hosts, best-selling authors and asbestos experts, Ian Stone and Neil Munro.
Welcome to the Asbestos Knowledge Empire. My name's Neil Munro.
And I'm Ian Stone.
So today we're going to be talking about why is it time to get rid of your paper signing-in sheets for your asbestos registers? Why is it a good idea? Well, we kind of had a bit of a conversation.
A lot of the time, it was heated. No, a lot of the time we go straight into a podcast and we just chat stuff through as we kind of do. But that one was just an idea that you just raised then. Yeah. And it was kind of, right, okay, let's set the scene. So you go into most businesses in the UK and there will be a signing in sheet, be it a visitor's login, logbook, or in this respect, an asbestos register signing in sheet.
Yeah.
And that'll be a physical piece of paper that's either attached to the register or the survey or whatever format they've got it. And that signing in sheet basically says, I've reviewed all the asbestos information that I need to before I go and do my job.
Yeah.
And the question that you asked me was, well, why? Yeah. Wasn't it? It's like, what's the point? Where's it come from?
Where has that come from? Because as far as I'm aware, and kind of we regaled our kind of memories, there isn't any sort of specific guidance of which states
you must sign your life away.
A signing in sheet to confirm that contractors or whoever it is that needs this information has actually got it and read it.
No.
However, so looking at the regulations, so the under Regulation 4, duty holder has a requirement to provide asbestos information to basically anyone that needs to have it.
Yeah.
And that would cover any contractors coming to do works or the occupants of the buildings, depending on what they're doing within that. So it's basically anyone who needs it has to be supplied that information.
But then we were chatting through about, well, where is that line drawn between provision of information and still actually being a duty holder to make sure that it's working and they've had it.
Understand it.
Yeah, because I mean, your example was, well, I've emailed you it.
Yeah.
And at which point you're like, well, I've emailed you it. You've got the information.
There's an electronic and trace to say,
from you to me.
Yes.
However, you haven't got my confirmation because, well, it went into my junk. I've not seen it.
Yeah.
I didn't open it.
Yeah.
I've not read it. So then it's like, well,
exactly. And then you said, well, because the paper, the actual sheet that's your evidence of you signing it.
Yes.
However, that led us on to, well, yeah, I've signed it, but I've not read it.
Yeah, and that's it, because I've seen it time and again where contractors rock up, just sign there, lads.
Don't even know what I'm signing.
Just sign there. You need to sign in that book, that book, that book.
Yeah.
And then you can crack on with your job. Yeah. And I've seen them, they just sign their life away. Could bloody say anything. It's very rare that people stop, review, take their time, actually go through it and make sure. Because a lot of the time it's just seen as health and safety kind of over the topness and all the rest of it. But I mean, I think that comes from probably law. And I mean, I even said probably doomsday when they went around counting how many chickens and sheep you had.
Yeah. I think it comes down to kind of arse covering to say.
It is. It's that evidence.
This is the evidence to say that I've done my bit by giving you it.
Yes.
Whether you choose to read it or not is down to you.
But you are evidencing saying that you have read it.
Yeah.
And if you choose to read it or not and you go off and do something you shouldn't have, well, you're an idiot because you've signed your life away.
Yes. And that's kind of keeping the duty holder out of jail.
That probably could be where the that saying comes from, signing your life away.
Yeah. Literally.
Yeah. I'm going to look up that.
So that kind of, that ticks your box.
Ticks your box. And that's what we're not about. It's not about box ticking just for the sake of it, just doing asbestos management because I'm told to, because I have to.
Yeah. That's not good enough, is it?
No, it's not. And
And it's going to come back to bite you. That's the whole point. It's, okay, you've kicked yourself out of jail because you've ticked that box. But at the end of the day, if something goes wrong, it's on your site. It's your asbestos. It's going to be your problem to clean up. Yeah,
exactly that. It either comes back to bite you because it's I don't know, health and safety audits because somebody's disturbed asbestos that they shouldn't have. People have been exposed. You've got to get your wallet out because there's asbestos issue that you've now got to pay for. There's downtime, all the rest of it. All those things kind of, whichever way, or you can sit there in your ivory tower and go, well, I gave him the information.
Yeah.
But it still comes back to haunt you if it's not working.
Yeah, it's potentially opening up a big wound of investigation into you and your business.
Yeah, exactly that. And so then the conversation moved on. Well, that's not good enough. So
what's the best?
What's better than that? And that's the thing, right? You give somebody a piece of paper and they can read it, open it, whatever, just look at the pretty pictures, but you still don't know if unless you're literally there by their side, you don't know. Talking them through it. You don't know if they've gone to look at the right building, the right room, the right location that they're going to do work, or if they've just had a quick flick. However, you can do that with databases.
Yeah.
And this was kind of a revelation, really, in...
Signing in piece of paper...
It's dead.
It's dead, yeah.
It should be dead.
Yeah.
It should be dead as dishwater because it's not good enough to make sure it's working. And that's the whole point. It's not about the health and safety, arse covering, I've proven that I gave it to you. It shouldn't be about that. It's... If the shit hits the fan, you need to prove that
they've had the right information. And they've viewed the right information and they've been given what they need to have to make sure that their works or whatever they're doing is done safely.
And the thing is, it all helps with, if an issue still happens, that helps with the kind of investigation afterwards. Because with the databases nowadays, with our database, we literally give a contractor a login. You can give them access to the building, room, floor, area, location, whatever, and the kind of the tracking facility on their login versus what they've actually gone to look at can be seen.
Yeah.
So you can see what time of day or night that they logged in, what site they looked at, what room they looked at, what location of asbestos they looked at,
how long they looked at it for.
Yeah.
You know, if they've literally just clicked in, clicked out, that's probably not enough to absorb the information that's recorded there.
No, exactly. It's that, again, that goes back to the box ticking, just doing a bit, which isn't good enough. And that's what it's all about. It's making sure that the asbestos management plan is working. And that's the only way to make sure it does work, is to kind of fully identify that people are accessing the right information for the right amount of time. Because with the best will in the world, you can give somebody something. They go, yeah, I've signed it. But you don't know if it's working. But at least if they've done that, you can see where their eyeballs have been.
Yeah.
At what time. And like you said, because you can see whether they're on... All right, you don't know if they've clicked in it and then sitting there watching EastEnders for half hour and then log out. You don't know that. But chances are, if they've logged in and they've spent a few minutes looking at different locations, clicking on different pieces of asbestos within that building, they've actually looked at the information and took it in.
Yeah. And you'll know it's like, you know, they're working in the meeting room and they've looked at all the information within the meeting room. That's a good indicator to say that, yes, they've reviewed, you know, what asbestos is within that area. So that's a good indication whether they've got it right or not, isn't it? If they've just looked at one item in there and then looked at stuff in the hall, they haven't reviewed the information right, have they?
No, and that's it. And that's what you can't do with physical paper format stuff. Because
I've had a flick through.
You got my signature. Well, look, I've seen it. I don't know. I just dropped the ball. Don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know what happened. Yeah. But you can't see where their eyes have been. But with the database, you can see that. So if something does still happen, you can then kind of, I don't know, speak to that individual to find out where it went wrong and how it went wrong.
Yeah, and you can start using that to gauge the kind of competency of your contractors. You know, if you've got, you know, a couple of electricians that you regularly use, you can then identify, well, these are the ones that take it seriously. Yeah. Because they're logging in, they're reviewing all the information, job by job. These are the ones that don't actually really care. they don't give a shit,
Yeah.
and they're not doing it right.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
which one do you want to carry on using?
Yeah. No, exactly that. And it does. And it gives that kind of, that helps with your relationships with contractors that you utilise and use, and provides better management of them, because when people know they're being watched, they perform better.
Yeah.
It's kind of the thing, isn't it? Driving down the road, people, driving along, as soon as they see a police car, they look at their speed and
drive to the limit.
Whereas when they've not seen that police car, they don't know there's a police car there, people go, I'll be all right, put the foot down a bit. And that's what happens. Whereas this kind of, this brings it up to date, and it's, a kind of real revelation having this conversation, wasn't it? About how you can take something so simple as signing in that everybody thinks is like the holy grail of it, and it's not. It's shit.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
Yeah,
it doesn't work. It does, and that's the thing. It's not worked for years. I've seen it not work properly for years.
Yeah,
but I've never kind of thought more about it than this conversation now. That it can actually be physically checked and managed.
Kind of the points I wanted to get across on that one, wasn't it?
So myself and my right honourable friends.
So ditch the paper.
Yeah, ditch the paper. That's it, and
go electronic, because it really is the best audit trail.
Yeah, and that's the point. It's the audit trail that you can't
see. It's the best confirmation that people are actually using and viewing and, in best will in the world, absorbing that asbestos information. And it's going to be more in people's mind. You know, if they've looked at all this asbestos in the property, when they're going into your property, they're going to be looking out and they're going to be familiar with what was in the register. And if they see something that wasn't in the register, they're probably going to highlight that more to you as well. And that just adds to a more effective management system.
It does. And let's be honest, that's what we want. You'll have spent a lot of money clawing this data together.
Yeah.
And now this is the point, that it's out there. The data is living and breathing and being used to ensure that people aren't being exposed, that asbestos isn't being damaged.
Yeah.
You don't have issues crop up.
Yeah. What's the point of having the best survey, the best register, the best management plan in the world if no one's bloody seeing it and using it?
Exactly. And this is the number one easy way to check that and report on it. Hope you enjoyed that one. Remember, asbestos first, not last.